And as people come in, hello, welcome. Julie is preparing for her yearly extravaganza for Turkey Day. She, I think she must make like at least a dozen kinds of pie to give you an idea of how serious she is about the holiday. So, yeah, she's got the whole week off. So I'm running tea time today. And Gabe, Patricia, and Julia all showed up for me. Let's see, Julia and Patricia, who came in first among you two?
Patricia came in before me.
Okay.
I think so.
Oh, you mean
Oh, just
here?
entered the Zoom room.
I thought you meant answered your email.
Oh, no, it ain't like that.
What do you know?
Okay, so Gabe, you want to start? And then Patricia and Julia.
Yes, I will take the lead on this bad boy. So, things are looking weird. So can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Family of Spies. It probably needs no introduction. I think it was the number one indie next pick. I hardly ever pay attention to that stuff. Um, but I think it was number one indie next pick, which kind of surprised me because it's nonfiction. But then it shouldn't have surprised me because this book is like, it's a book that it's just like the facts. It reminded me a lot of The Art Thief in that I recommend that all the time still because it's slight. It is just the facts. There's not a lot of embellishments. The story itself drives the narrative, and there's just, a little bit of interaction from the author, it seems. But this is a cool story. I talk all the time that I grew up reading World War II for that's my first history readings, having been born in a certain year, close to the 1945. The but there's all these chapters that you'd never hear about, and they're right. I'm looking at our nonfiction history shelf all the time, table all the time, and I'm like, wow, there's something I haven't read about. So this is a story about a young woman, Christine Cohen, who's sitting around minding her own business when she gets a call from a reporter wanting to ask her about her family and their ties to the Nazis, and she's like, "What? I think you got the wrong person." Um, lets it slide, mentions it to her father, who's like, tries to play dumb as long as possible. But it turns out her father's parents were spies for the Japanese. They were German, and they were spies for the Japanese, and they lived in Hawaii for like 4 years. They were on the radar. And I'm not going to say too much more because otherwise the story will be told. But there's a lot of tension, and it's just a trip. It's like 9/11, oh, these people just want to learn how to fly a plane. They didn't want to land it kind of thing. Um, it is somehow very riveting. I couldn't put it down. And it was just like I said, a story, not a lot of embellishment. Um, just the facts, like The Art Thief. If you read that, I think you'll love this. Good, solid nonfiction that doesn't mess around. Oftentimes, I'm like a lot of nonfiction books can be a big, long Vanity Fair article, and you pretty much covered the themes of your book. But this just chugs along, so it's a lot of fun. I recommend it for that very reason. Fun reading.
Great. Nancy Warwick just added that to her recommendations list too. Ooh. And a lot of love for the Art Thief in that, well, among
It,
Warwick's readers and also from Lori in the chat.
it
And
surprised me how
Tom,
good.
Hey,
hi,
Whoa!
you let me in. Thank you. I'm
snuck
sorry I'm
in there. Thanks for being here.
late. Gabe, the timekeeper.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, I'm not like that, but no.
All right, Patricia, your turn.
Well,
Nice to
I'm
see
going to do a
you.
shout out for kind of a wonderful book we have this season, and it's back in stock, Life of Violet by, Virginia Woolf. And it is, of course, a real story, something incredible to have a new Virginia Woolf, a new old Virginia Woolf. These are three very uh, magical stories of women's friendship. They're sort of entangled. They were written when she was very young in 1907, when she was 25. They're a tribute to her lifelong friend, her older friend and mentor, Mary Violet Dickinson, who really saw her through some of those depressive moments of the young Virginia Woolf. Um, she wrote these three fantastical stories of a very, very tall Violet, busy doing magical things. There is a backstory to our book. This is the first publication of a newly revised manuscript, which was unknown until just recently, found in the archives, I understand, bound in purple leather and written in purple ink. The editor, Urmila Seshagiri, um, realized what we had here, the hand of the mature Virginia Woolf revisiting her earlier manuscript and some notes from Violet Dickinson. So it's just quite wonderful to have this. There's some elements of mock biography, and if you're, a lifelong Bloomsburian, there was lots of mock biography going on. There was, eminent Victorians. There was Woolf's own biography of Flush, the spaniel of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, or her own Orlando. And this is part of that fanciful and charming tradition. The book has nice violet end papers and attractive package. We have, I think, two new printings coming in right now. So something charming for the completist, the literary impulse buyer, and just, can't get enough Bloomsbury.
Beautiful. Thank you. Patricia, I took the liberty of putting all of your holiday picks onto a page on our website. Is that
Oh,
okay?
the
Do you mind if I
the
share it?
newsletter one?
No, just an actual page on our, yeah, from your newsletter.
Oh, yeah. That
Is
was
that
fun.
acceptable?
Hmm.
Is it okay if I share that with people in the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. All right, Julia. Julia's a little under the weather and still joined us. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Sorry. So I'm sorry about my voice is really the crux of it. Um, hi, my first one. I missed last week because I had a day off. I took a day off. So I was not here last week. So my first book came out last Tuesday. You can see this now, I'm sure. Beasts of the Sea. Um, and by Ida Turpienen. And this is, I gotta say, I read this whole book and thought it was nonfiction. It reads like David Grann a little bit, or Eric Larson, or one of those authors. But this is a phenomenal. Beast of the Sea is a phenomenal book. It is a novel, but it's based in true events, and it sort of um imagines the travels of Bering, who eventually the Bering Strait was named after, but they shipwrecked, that crew shipwrecked in what is now Alaska. And so it talks about it like follows this crew and this shipwreck, and in this sort of like mixed, it's not mixed media, it's all written, but it's like mixed ways of like writing. So there's some kind of like imaginary or like imaginative sort of segments, there's some like poetic segments, and then there's the story written out, and you sort of imagine yourself amongst these sailors, and they encounter a now extinct species called the sea cow, and it's the Arctic sea cow, which went extinct in like the 17 or 1800s. It went extinct basically almost right after this crew found them. And it's sort of like their relationship to the sea cow. And it's such a great book. This was one of those books that like it was written in um I'm sorry, I'm gonna forget if it's in a Scandinavian language, but I'm gonna forget which one. Um and and it had one of those like huge bidding wars, and it was like a bestseller. It's been a bestseller in multiple countries, and it's finally here, and it is just like such a gorgeously written book. If you like those nonfiction books like David Grann and Erica Larson, this is definitely one to read. But even if you just love a story, a sort of fictionalized account of something that we don't know all the details of, it is truly awesome. Yeah, Beast of the Sea. This one just came out last week.
Awesome. Looks like maybe it was written in Finnish originally,
Yes,
perhaps.
that sounds correct. I'm sorry. The other one that I'm going to talk about was also written in, I think, Finnish. And I always I don't know. I always get the Scandinavian countries confused. That's my own problem, but it is a problem that I suffer from.
Well, you never know, too. Sometimes, it, you'll read the biography of the person and it says they're from Finland, but they didn't necessarily write it in Finnish. But yeah, translation isn't always as cut and dry as you think. So it's good that you
Yeah,
didn't assume. Yeah, sounds fantastic. And, Warwick's readers love our sea stories. So cool, good
totally.
one.
Totally.
Yeah, thank you. Cool cover, too. Okay, Tom,
All right.
thanks for
So
coming.
my first book is Capitalism, A Global History by Sven Beckert. This is just a printout of the cover because but it does not do justice to the size of this book. This is a 1,300 page, giant of a book, a lifetime in the making. He's the author. His last book for the trade was Empire of Cotton, which won the Bancroft Prize, was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. So this will likely also be a, finalist for many of these same prizes. So this is really like he is the preeminent historian of capitalism. So this is capitalism from its origins and before the term was even coined. So he goes back to the mid 1400s all the way to the present in this book, looking at it as it says a global history. So he's looking at it, in terms of politics, economics, international relations across an entire millennium and across the world. So it really tells the story of how we got here. I mean, certainly many people describe this as late capitalism. I don't know where he comes down on that, but it's really about the phenomenon, how it came to be, and then through the centuries, including, slavery, exploitation of human bodies, all of that is in here because that's the story of capitalism. So early reviews are fantastic. Kirkus says a clarity that Karl Marx could only long for. Beckert's agile account marches through the emergence of mercantilism and the invention of double-entry bookkeeping and proceeds through plantation and wage slavery, a comprehensive and up-to-date history. And then Thomas Piketty, who wrote the famous bestseller, 10 years ago, more, Capital
Mhm.
in the 21st Century, says Sven Beckert has written what will surely become a key reference on the global history of modern capitalism, a monumental book, a must read. So for that person who wants the full story of the biggest book on really the biggest topic, this is Capitalism. And dare I say, it is magisterial. It is absolutely magisterial. I've
Agreed,
been
Julia.
waiting. I've been waiting to use the word at just the right moment.
Yes, you got to use it once a season maximum.
Got it. This
It's a
is it.
Perfectly deployed.
magisterial book. Maybe once a year.
Very well
Bestow it.
deployed. Yeah, I mean, 1,344 pages.
Yeah.
Wow.
Better be magisterial.
Yeah. And sometimes like we publish books by professors at Harvard like him that are like slim, like the course in one little book. Well, this is the course in its full. It's the full syllabus and more.
Thank you. Okay, Gabe.
All right, I'm going to talk about a book that's releasing tomorrow. It's a short story collection. The author is quite a young author, Juhea Kim, and she is a Portland author uh, up in the Pacific Northwest. And she's written a couple of novels. She wrote The Beast of No Land. A Beast of a Little Land, which had this really amazing cover. You'd pick it up when you saw it on the table because it had a great cover. But the inners were really terrifically done. It was a novel that talked about pretty much the creation of modern Korea, and it starts very simply and it expands as you read it, and it's a really full, rich novel that did really nicely, got really well reviewed, and got a lot of good attention. And then she published a second book, City of Nightbirds, about a year ago, um, which I thought, wow, that's really soon coming off the last novel, which I think was like 3 years ago, uh, which sort of sets off alarms in my head. Um, it seems kind of fast for an experienced writer, much less a new writer. But man, such a great story. She's got such a ability to create a sense of place. She very atmospheric. The second book, City of Nightbirds, takes place in Russia, sort of mid-century, and it's set in the world of ballet. And I couldn't put it down. I just story plot wise, story wise was really terrific. She can really put words together, and she writes a really strong plot. So now we got a short story collection is book three. It's a paperback original. And they do that just so the author has a shot at, people, short story collections can be tough, but you try to encourage people to read it if you publish it in paperback original. And I think that's probably what they're doing here because she does deserve to be read. Um, she is a got a really keen eye, and what these stories deal with is people from all over the world, people from all walks of life, people all across the economic spectrum around the world living their lives. Some uh, very privileged lives, getting more privileged, others living very average lives, to a little boy who is. Um, Suffering a lot of hunger and economic woe, who becomes an internet sensation through some dance. So she's kind of all over the world and all over the uh, cultural spectrum and socioeconomic spectrum. But it's like a really quick, brief look at the world in kind of a nutshell. Interesting, always interesting. I think she's worth a look. So that's why I wanted to talk about her today.
A gorgeous cover too.
Oh yeah, it's a cool cover.
Thank you.
When I made the PowerPoint, it popped up and I'm like, that's a really good looking cover.
Can't go wrong with a rainbow. Okay, Patricia.
Well, I have a book for another group of completists. Princeton, of course, is Bollingen Foundation is part of Princeton, so all of Jung. And we have something new coming out. Here it is, Jung's Life and Work. It's a big compilation of interviews with Agnella Jaffe. Now, this was the source material for the famous Memories, Dreams, and Reflections, which has been moving right along for Random House for decades and has sold hundreds of thousands. But there was a great deal of material in those interviews, and much of it has never come to light. Jungians are very intense. They call this material the protocols. So at last, the protocols are available, and they have more material, flesh out some bits, parts of Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. It's arranged chronologically, and it's just compelling in that Jung was such a fountain of dream material and strangeness wherever you look. There's Here we have, whoops, the great man as we know him. Oh well, I'll give up on that. I have a nice quote from Kathleen Rain just to give you a sense of how we approach this material. Jung's life, even so fragmentarily revealed, invites comparison not with profane autobiography, but with the lives of Plotinus and Swedenborg, the lives of the saints and sages interwoven with miracle. So, this is what you're getting into. And you plunge right in with the familiar story, his first memories of light above him through the trees in a in his pram. We know some of this already from Memories, Dreams, and Reflections, but it's much expanded, or there's material you haven't seen before. I can imagine you plunging into this somewhat as you would as in a diary. It doesn't have an interview format, but there's just long passages. I found it kind of fascinating. I quickly opened to a page in which he was leaving the Acropolis, Rhodes, Malta, and Sicily, and coming to stupas in 1938, and an early experience of Buddhism. And much to my delight, in May 16th, 1958, there's an extended period on his 14 days at Taos Pueblo. I live in New Mexico, so kind of wonderful to read Jung's impressions of Taos and perhaps Taos Pueblo's impressions of Jung at this point. So if there are any Jungians in your world, or you're drawn to his life, this is kind of a extra marvelous new facet.
Cool. Jungians are very intense. The protocols, what? Why? Do you know why?
Do not know.
Okay. Just curious. Cool. Thank you. Okay, Julia.
I love the idea of Jung in Taos. That's a great
Yeah.
image.
I want to read the
Um,
novelization of that.
yeah, right, right. Okay, my next book, like I said, is another book in translation. It's Norwegian, not Finnish, not, I don't know, whatever we said um earlier. So this is The Ferryman and His Wife. And this is, oh my gosh, you guys, this is an utter, I don't know if I want to say an utter delight of a novel. It is like nostalgic, it's bittersweet, it's beautiful. Um, it is a sort of a one sitting read. It's a smaller title, it's pretty thin. But it is about this ferryman. He knows it is his last day on Earth. He's gonna die today, but he doesn't. So he does his normal routine and he goes out in his ferry along the fjords. And as he is ferrying down the fjords, he sort of looks around and remembers his entire life. Um, the vast majority of which has been lived on this fjord. And it is just a stunning book. You can see it's an Indie Next pick, and it got a Starred Library Journal review. And it is just one of our, in the indie team, one of our sort of favorite books of the season. We all read it and absolutely devoured it and loved it. And it feels like a great sort of indie bookstore book. The kind of thing you pick up and just fall in love with. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. Much like Before the Coffee Gets Cold, or a book like that. It's not super plot heavy, but it's going to take you on a real trip down this fjord and through a life. And in doing so, it's just like you're going to be on the most beautiful ride. So, yeah, this is The Ferryman and His Wife. It's really a wonderful novel.
Beautiful. Sounds like something you could give pretty much any reader.
Totally. Yeah.
Cool.
And it's a paperback original. So, I call it a back pocket book. It's a smaller trim size. It fits right in your back pocket. You can take it. I like to take them on the train or whatever. I always like a book in my back pocket when I'm cruising around. But it's really a delight.
Yeah, and speaking of small books for your pocket, Julia also gave us her list of stocking stuffer books that I have on page here. If anyone wants to peruse that. And yeah, always love a good pocketbook. Okay, Tom.
All right, so my next book is The Sunshine Man by Emma Stonex, out tomorrow. This is her second novel. Her first novel was really underrated. It was called The Lamplighters. And That was her debut. And The Sunshine Man is really both have mystery elements. Both are they're really just literary novels, but they definitely have suspense. Um, this drew me in from this first sentence, which is, "The week I shot a man clean through the head began like any other." So that's a great first line, and it goes from there. Delivers on that first line. So the character who says whose line that is, who's there's two different perspectives in the book. This is Bertie Keller. The book takes place from the 60s to the 80s, and it's about memory in many ways. So Bertie's sister was murdered by Jimmy. These are all people that grew up together in England, and now Jimmy is about to be released from prison, and Birdie is setting off to take revenge. Um, but the story becomes increasingly complicated as you hear both characters' perspectives on the past and what happened, their past that's intertwined, and the things they don't know about each other. Um, so it's got revenge. It's got, as I say, like a real examination of memory and how that works and doesn't work. She's a great storyteller, really good writer. This is a tough, it's hard in many ways because it deals with trauma and loss and vengeance. But excellent follow-up to her first novel. It's from Viking, and it's not exactly in the same vein as Tana French. Tana French is also published by Viking, but same editor at Viking, and it delivers the literary suspense. It doesn't. Very different from Tana, but really excellent novel, but with a suspense, but definitely in the suspense genre. So Sunshine Man, Emma Stonex.
It's funny, it's kind of there are different kinds of cozy reading in the wintertime, and I think that kind of falls in that,
It
even
does.
though
You're right.
it's kind of
Yes.
creepy, but people used to tell ghost stories for Christmas, so it's
Exactly. And this is very atmospheric, very chilly,
mhm,
perfect. Yeah, that's exactly right.
sounds good. Okay. Lightning round?
Already?
No, no one has to rush, but yeah, last round. Go ahead, Gabe.
I'll be quick with my lightning round. So this is the kind of thing I like to talk about. I like to read. And it's just some fun, smart essays from Marguerite Yourcenar. They're being republished. It was a posthumous collection. Um, and it's her insights on art and artists. So she looks at um, like what drove artists. What were the dreams of artists like Michelangelo, Durer, Piranesi is an author she writes a lot about. Um, she writes an essay in here on writing a historical novel or writing historical fiction. She's probably best known for writing a novel called The Memoirs of Hadrian, which is an imagined uh, autobiography of the Roman emperor that was published like early 50s, 50, 51, something like that. It's a classic. It's very illusory. It's very brilliantly written. But this book is essentially five really beautiful essays on art and how we interact with art, and how we interact with beauty, and the beauty and sometimes the heartache and the heartbreak of art. And I think when you read her, you'll want to read more of her. She's also, I think, Farrar, Straus and Giroux publishes The Mighty Sculptor Time, um, which is another collection of essays by Margaret Yourcenar, which are worth a look. But if you want something just really smart, if you are into art, if you're a creator, um, if you're a reader, if you're a museum goer, I think there's a lot here for you on uh, just again how our brains and how we physically psychologically, mentally, socially interact with art. And we do so every day. You know, we have new bookmarks at Warwick's. That little piece of art there, that's my favorite bookmark. I put that in people's bags, and people always exclaim, "What a great little piece of art!" 'Cause it's a really good drawing. So we see it all the time. And I think through Yorsinar's brilliant eyes, there's a big payoff. There's a big payoff. Nothing, you read a quick essay and you're done. Published by a really interesting David Zwirner is an art gallery in New York, LA. They're all England and Tokyo. They're all over the place. I don't know who distributes them here, but we've had a few books in the store from the David Zwirner imprint, um, which I had never heard of, and they're really pretty brilliant, art focused, intellectually vibrant kind of books. So see David Zwirner, I pick it up real quick. He's not just and he's also got a terrific art gallery that you can pop into and see some cool stuff. Represents like 70 authors, but so it's kind of an interesting, the whole story. I only throw that in there because I think it's an interesting story that we have an art publisher publishing this work here.
Um, this is the second time in a pretty short period of time where I've seen the word ekphrasis. And I read it in the New York Times because Mark Danielewski was talking about his new book, and he said about people trying to describe the book. No one wants to read a book, uh, read a book that's an a work of phrases. Sorry, I'm messing that up completely, but I had to look up the word, and it's just writing about art, describing art, very a very vivid description of a visual work of art. And that's really cool that there's a whole series about that. Looks like there's one by Virginia Woolf. Um, Putting that in the chat here. That sounds cool. Thank you, Gabe. Something more off the beaten path is good. Looks like it also probably might be stocking stuffer size. Are they nice kind of pocket size books?
Yeah.
I didn't see the book itself. I looked at the
Oh, okay.
They're a
magazine.
nice little gallery size series.
Nice.
I've seen the Hammer Museum has a lot of them. I've seen them around. They look great.
Yeah, it looks like 7 by 4.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
I'm imagining and hoping they have French flaps, but I can't count on that.
I
French
bet
flap
I
snob.
bet they do coming from Zwirner.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, Patricia.
Well, I liked the encouragement for the ghoulish during the holidays, the ghost stories, because we do indeed have a massive history book, Killing the Dead.
Ooh.
I haven't been able to hold on to a copy. My buyers have clamored for it. Vampire Epidemics from Mesopotamia to the New World. This is a huge history written by an impressive emeritus historian from Oxford, who his editor says his main research is on medieval landscapes, buildings, and material culture, to which he has returned after his interlude with the living dead. So this is a very thorough book on how disturbed we are by the dead and their unruliness. They keeping them down. The fact that they might come back and disturb us. There have been apparently back to the ancient world efforts to secure the dead peacefully, keep them from rattling around. He suggests that killing the dead, as he suggests, our effort to put down vampires, that's what he's calling it, is a cathartic by discharging our impulses of fear, hatred, and paranoia on the already dead. We might spare some of the living. It's a synthesis of anthropological, archaeological, historical. It's completely compelling and fascinating. It's filled with pictures. There's ancient Mongolia, Greek and Roman empires. There's the collective fear of the dangerous dead, all the way up well into the Enlightenment era and modern times in Saxony, Bohemia, Silesia, Moravia, and the Balkans, which of course we understand to be vampire territory. There's quite a lot of interest on female vampires. They are not bloodsuckers until the literary 19th century, which compelled them, but they did have a tendency to wear chainmail, eat livestock, and make annoying chewing sounds. So it's altogether a fascinating book. It's a good addition to my collated Princeton mortality list, which is up to over 65 titles. It seems to be a theme.
Wow.
And it's red, so we could put it on our holiday table.
Very good.
Oh, and I was presenting it somewhere, and someone told me they had a galley of a book that's forthcoming, maybe one of yours, a novel on Anne Boleyn beheaded, in which she had risen from the grave and was being a problem. And this is exactly what this book is about. We have done everything we possibly could to keep her down. We have buried her with her head separate, and nevertheless, she is troublesome.
Deborah
I'm
read that book.
noticing.
She didn't hate it.
Hmm?
Deborah read that book. She didn't hate it. It was interesting.
It's not, I think it's out in Galley. I think it's a spring book.
Yeah, she read the manuscript. I think she might have reviewed it for Shelf Awareness.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah.
Look, it sounded fun.
I just noticed one of the blurbs on this. This fascinating history shows that you can't keep a good corpse down. Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Something to read after you watch Sinners.
Mhm.
Okay, my next one, my last one, I brought a kid's book because I know that Julie always loves that, and I hope that people get ideas for what to buy for kids. This book is This Is Not a Sleepy Bear book. And in this book, you can imagine a bear is getting ready to go into hibernation. Um, and the reason that this is not a sleepy bear book is that Bear's friends keep keeping him up. They're playing guitar, they keep throwing parties in his dens, they are yelling, they're having a great, they throw him a surprise party at one point. They're just having a great time. And Bear really needs to go to sleep and hibernate for the winter. And it's a great sort of book to read to kids. I think it's a great book. It's a fun book to you know, when kids hit that like rowdy part of the night where they're like very tired but they do not want to sleep and kind of are totally nuts. I think this book really kind of has some of that energy and then brings it down. This Is Not a Sleepy Bear book is my children's book for the day. It's a delightful and cute, and also I think a good bedtime book for kids.
Got that reverse psychology going. It's not a sleepy book.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly. See, this is
tricksy.
what you do. Some people need to sleep.
Thank you. Bring us on home, Tom.
Okay. So you will all remember the barn from last year. This I talked a lot about the barn everywhere I could. It's in paper. It's been in paper for a month or two, and I hadn't talked about it yet. But I just before coming on, I saw news from Wright Thompson that makes this very topical, and it's a book that if you didn't find it in hardcover, it's paperback. I mean, it's a book that just demands to be discovered and read. But he posted this from Mississippi Today. The headline is Delta Barn where Emmett Till was slain is bought as a quote sacred site. And then Wright Thompson, who is a genius, says the barn will forever be a place of memory. It has been purchased by Shonda Rhimes and the Emmett Till Interpretive Center. So that's amazing. I mean, Shonda Rhimes, I don't know Shonda Rhimes, but what that is incredible. And he says, I think this is the most important thing to happen to the Delta in generations because history is most accurately told here and most reliably erased through the land. Who owns it? Who farms it? Who lived and died on it? Whose ghost is trapped in it? The Delta remains a place where power is tied to ownership of the dirt. So that this is and it's rare that a book has an impact like this, but I guarantee that without this book, this wouldn't have happened. So Wright Thompson's The Barn. Yeah, the barn, of course, is where Emmett Till was murdered.
Thank you. Cool. Did everyone get their 3 books?
440, man. We always finish at 440.
Yeah, I'm
Machines
y'all are
here.
professionals. Thank you all so much.
There's like 1,000 years of experience there. I mean, come on. No offense. Even Julia. I knew her when she was young.
Sure.
And Julia has lived like so many different lives, so it makes sense that she's just good at everything. Um, so if you love tea time, a reminder that we're going to be having rep night at the store on December 9th, and quite a few reps will be there. So we'd love to have you there. Also, if you're in town and you want a really interesting event on, let's see, Monday, the 1st of December, we are hosting Sam Quinones, and he has written this book called The Perfect Tuba, Forging Fulfillment from the bass horn, band, and hard work. And he'll be in conversation with an acclaimed tubist from the La Jolla, who's affiliated with the La Jolla Music Society, Scott Sutherland. And Sam Quinones is known for his pretty heavy books about like the opioid crisis. So this is a shift for him, and it sounds amazing. Also, C-SPAN will be there filming live, so that or filming for later, so for book TV. So that'll be kind of cool. And yeah. Oh, and one more thing, everybody out there, you've been hearing Julie and I talk about the Golden Poppy Awards a lot. Next week, in partnership with Shelf Awareness, a really great book selling trade uh, daily digest, we'll be sending out the lists of finalists for the Golden Poppies. And it's a lot of great books. So if you're interested in keeping abreast of that, and you can also sign up for the virtual award ceremony in January, please sign up for our mailing list, and you'll get that email next week. So yeah, it's kind of book awards season, which
Love
is
it.
always fun. Yeah. I was talking to someone who got to go to the National Book Awards, and
Oh my God.
wow, yeah. She said she suddenly ended up on the dance floor with George Saunders,
As
who
one
told
does.
yeah, who warned everyone that he'd be dancing very badly and all night.
But dancing nonetheless. I love that.
Yes. I think he received a sort of career lifelong sort
Mm.
of award for his work. So yeah, great. And yeah, everyone please have a good holiday week. Give thanks in the ways that make sense for you and eat lots of good food. And thank
And
you
good luck
everybody for being here
with
today,
pies.
reps and people. Yeah. The buffet of pies. Thank you everyone.
Good to see you all.
Bye.
Holiday.